The notification lit up my phone at 2:47 a.m. on a Tuesday. Not a text. Not an email. A silent alert from our Nest security camera, the one Sarah had insisted we install in the garage for package deliveries 3 months ago. The motion sensor had triggered, but the timestamp showed the garage door hadn't opened. Someone was already inside. I was 300 miles away in a sterile Phoenix hotel room, supposedly celebrating the biggest contract of my career. Instead, I sat frozen on the edge of a bed, watching a grainy video feed of my own home. Watching a man I didn't recognize walk through our garage and disappear into the laundry room door, the door Sarah always kept locked. The door she claimed led to nothing but old storage. He knew the code. He moved like he belonged there. But here's what still wakes me up at night: I almost didn't check that notification. I almost swiped it away like I did with the other 47 alerts our camera sent weekly. I almost chose the comfortable ignorance that had carried me through 18 months of marriage. How did a man who built his career on noticing patterns, catching the smallest inconsistencies in architectural blueprints, miss the cracks forming in his own foundation? How did I not see that the woman sleeping beside me had become a stranger wearing familiar skin? To understand the weight of that 2:47 a.m. discovery, I need to take you back to when I still believed in the architecture of our life together. Sarah and I met in 2017 at a charity gala for affordable housing. She represented her family's real estate empire. I was there because my firm had designed the housing complex being celebrated. She wore emerald green. I spilled champagne on my only decent tie. She laughed and said, "Structural engineers shouldn't be allowed near open containers." I married her 11 months later in her parents' Napa vineyard. I was the anomaly, the guy from a Fresno double-wide who put himself through Cal Poly on scholarships. But Sarah made me feel like I belonged. She defended me against her mother's jabs about my pedestrian taste, celebrated my promotions at Morrison and Hale like they were her own victories. For 5 years, we built what I believed was a fortress. We bought a restored Craftsman in Portland's Alberta Arts District. She left her family's firm to start a boutique property development company. I became the youngest partner in my firm's history, leading their resilient infrastructure division. We had rituals. Tuesday night trivia at the Knockback, where she knew literature and I handled geography. Morning coffee on our porch, legs intertwined. Annual trips to places without cell service, Patagonia, the Scottish Highlands, where we remembered how to be quiet together. Sarah was meticulous. She color-coded her closet, maintained spreadsheets for our grocery inventory, remembered every anniversary. When my father died in 2021, she handled the funeral, the paperwork, the relatives I couldn't face. She held me for 3 nights while I finally grieved. That's what made the unraveling so disorienting. You don't question gravity when you've never known falling. The first crack appeared in February during our Tuesday trivia night, a tradition she'd called the anchor of my week. She was 17 minutes late, texting, running behind, with an emoji that felt too casual, too practiced. When she arrived, breathless and glowing, she kissed me with lips that tasted unfamiliar. "A new lip balm," she said. She got 3 literature questions wrong that night. Sarah, who had an English minor from Stanford, who could quote Woolf and Morrison, confused Virginia Woolf with Vita Sackville West. I chalked it up to work stress. Her new company had secured funding for a Pearl District warehouse conversion. She was working 80-hour weeks. So I adjusted. I picked up Thai food on my way home. I took over the grocery spreadsheet. I rubbed her shoulders while she reviewed permits at midnight. But the cracks kept spreading. In March, she changed her phone passcode. We'd always used our anniversary in reverse. One evening, her phone buzzed and I reached for it automatically, finding an unfamiliar numeric keypad. "Did you change the code?" "Oh, yeah. Work thing." Marcus, my new project manager, needed to access my calendar. I didn't want to give him our personal code. It made sense. But as she entered the new sequence, I noticed her thumb covering the screen. Just habit from coffee shops, she claimed. By April, her gentle teasing had sharpened. I hum when I concentrate, something my mother found endearing. Sarah had always mocked it affectionately. But that spring, she started leaving the room. That humming. It's like auditory sandpaper. Can't you just, not? My socks on the bathroom floor became disrespect for shared spaces. My diner coffee preference was willful stubbornness. Each criticism was small, defensible. But accumulated, they formed a pattern. She was dismantling the things she once loved about me. The company parties started in May. Sarah had never been corporate. But suddenly her calendar filled with networking events requiring evening wear and overnight bags. The Pearl District project needs political capital, she explained. Commissioner Rutherford only socializes after hours. I believed her. But I noticed details, dry cleaning receipts for dresses I'd never seen. Uber rides at 3 a.m. on early morning site visits. She stopped wearing her wedding ring to work events, because it snags on blueprints. I told myself these were entrepreneurial sacrifices. I was so committed to being the good husband that I almost missed becoming the stupid one. In June, I found a bank statement I didn't recognize. A credit union account with $47,000. Transactions for hotels, restaurants we'd never visited. A jeweler purchased 3 days before my birthday, when she'd given me a winter coat and claimed she'd been too busy to plan anything elaborate. I sat with that statement for an hour. I put it back. I chose plausible deniability over truth. But the universe wasn't letting me hide. July 14th. 5 years since we'd stood in that Napa vineyard. I'd planned dinner at our proposal restaurant, a Mount Hood cabin weekend. She canceled 3 hours before. Emergency structural issue at the Pearl site, she texted, with a photo of cracked concrete. Fire marshal shut us down. I sat staring at the anniversary cake I'd picked up and felt something shift. I checked her location, something I'd never done. Her dot showed her at the site. I felt ashamed. I threw away the cake. But 2 days later, reviewing Nest footage for a missing package, I found the truth. July 14th, 6:23 p.m. Our garage door opening. Sarah getting out with grocery bags from New Seasons. She'd been home by 6:30 p.m. She'd texted me at 7:15 p.m. about the emergency. I watched the footage 3 times. She'd staged a construction emergency. She'd spent our anniversary doing something she couldn't tell me about. I didn't confront her. Instead, I became an architect of evidence. I created a folder labeled Tax Documents 2023 and began collecting fragments of her double life. I found it in October during a yoga retreat in Bend. Searching her desk for a garage door opener, I felt a false bottom. A Samsung Galaxy, identical to her primary phone. When it booted up, I found a different life. A messaging app with conversations from M, starting in March, hotels I'd never heard of, nights she was too exhausted. The last message, Bend this weekend. Finally free of him. Can't wait to feel like myself again. I took screenshots. I put the phone back. I vomited until my throat burned. In November, I hired a forensic accountant. He found more accounts, credit cards I didn't know about, a P.O. box in Lake Oswego. Most damning, the Pearl District project had been on hold since April. 6 months of late nights at the site for a dead site. A pattern emerged. Every Tuesday, our trivia night, she met him. Every company party was a hotel. Every early morning site visit was a 3 a.m. Uber from the West Hills. She'd built a parallel timeline running beneath our marriage like a secret tunnel. I saw him in December at Powell's Books. Looking down at the coffee shop, I saw Sarah laughing, the unguarded laugh I hadn't heard in years. She leaned across a table, her hand on the arm of a silver-haired man, 50 maybe, wearing a wedding ring. He looked at her like she was the only person there. They kissed with the intimacy of long practice. I left without buying anything. I sat in my office until 2 a.m., staring at my evidence folder. I had enough for divorce. Enough to destroy her. But I was still hoping, pathetic hope, that there was an explanation. I decided to give her a chance to confess. I was so committed to redemption that I almost missed the final discovery. The notification came at 2:47 a.m., but the setup began weeks earlier. In January, I won the career-defining contract, designing Arizona's new resilient infrastructure hub. 6 months in Phoenix, starting with a 2-week intensive. Sarah was oddly supportive. Too supportive. She helped me pack, booked flights, arranged house-sitting. "This is your moment, David. I'm so proud of you." I wanted to believe we'd turned a corner. That my unspoken forgiveness inspired her to recommit. Then came Tuesday night. The Nest notification was routine. I almost ignored it. But something made me open the app. Night vision showed everything in green monochrome. A tall male figure moved from the laundry room toward the house interior. Moving with confidence, knowing where light switches were, where floorboards creaked. The garage door was closed. Locked. He'd come through the laundry room, the door Sarah claimed led only to storage. The always locked door. I watched for 40 minutes. He didn't leave. The house stayed dark. They'd done this before. I started recording. I documented my own humiliation. At 4:15 a.m., he emerged, paused at the garage door, turned back and raised his hand. A promise to return? I sat until dawn. I didn't call Sarah. I made a decision: stop being the victim. Give her one final chance at truth. If she didn't take it, I'd use every piece of evidence. I returned Friday, 2 days early. "Meetings wrapped up," I said. I wanted to surprise her. She wasn't home. I walked to the laundry room door. For the first time in 5 years, I tried the handle. Unlocked. Behind it wasn't storage. It was a finished studio apartment, bed, mini fridge, bathroom I didn't know existed. It smelled of cedar and another man's cologne. On the nightstand, mail addressed to Marcus Hale. I understood. The Dead Pearl District project. The company parties. She hadn't been going to him. She'd brought him here. To our home. I sat on their bed and waited. Sarah found me at 7 p.m. She walked through the door and froze. She didn't ask how I found it. Just, "I was going to tell you." "When?" "After Phoenix? After you transferred our assets? After you got pregnant and convinced me it was mine?" The last part was a guess based on fertility clinic receipts. Her face confirmed it. "You know." "I know about Marcus. The apartment. The Dead project. The bank accounts, the credit cards, every Tuesday night." I stood. "What I don't know is why. Why this elaborate construction? Why not just leave?" She laughed, broken and bitter. "Leave? And give up half of everything? Marcus is married. His wife has cancer. He can't leave. We needed time. We needed a secret apartment? A double life? A pregnancy to pin on me? It wasn't supposed to be like this." She cried, not remorse, but frustration. "Phoenix was supposed to last 6 months. You were supposed to be gone. We had a timeline. A timeline for my displacement." "It's not your child," she said, sharp and final. "It was never going to be yours. Marcus and I have been trying for a year. The fertility treatments, the timing, all calculated. You were never supposed to know. I felt cold clarity. The clarity of seeing the fatal flaw in blueprints. You made one mistake, I said. You underestimated my capacity for documentation. I retrieved my external hard drive. Set it on the kitchen island. Your timeline is accelerated. You have 48 hours to vacate. I've filed for legal separation. My attorney has everything, the fraud, adultery, pregnancy fraud. You'll be lucky to keep your clothing. You can't. I can. I have. I looked at her, really looked, for the first time in months. The door you built? I'm having it walled up tomorrow. Brick and mortar. No one will use it again. The divorce finalized in June. Sarah fought, for the house, alimony, a narrative casting her as misunderstood. But the evidence was overwhelming. She kept her clothing, her car. Moved to Bend where Marcus had a second home. I heard his wife recovered. That Sarah and Marcus lasted 6 months before imploding. That Portland real estate closed every door to her. I don't take satisfaction. Or maybe I do, a little. I kept the Craftsman. Had the garage apartment demolished, walls removed, space returned to storage. Sold the Nest camera. Changed every lock, password, routine. But I kept Tuesday trivia, with friends from work. Morning coffee on the porch. Annual trips without cell service, Patagonia last year, Iceland this summer, remembering how to be quiet with myself. I started a new firm. Smaller, selective, community-centered. I hired people I trusted. Built a team valuing transparency over ambition. I learned something no school taught: the most dangerous structures appear perfectly sound while hiding fatal foundation flaws. Sarah was my beautiful facade. But the foundation was rotten. I couldn't see it until the structure swayed. People ask if I regret not confronting her earlier. If I wish I'd trusted my instincts in February. I don't have a clean answer. If I'd confronted her in June, would we have tried counseling? Would I wonder if I gave up too easily? Or would I be raising another man's child, manipulated into forgiveness, trapped in a prison I called marriage? I chose certainty. Clarity over emotion. But I think about Powell's books. About walking away instead of confronting them. About months documenting instead of deciding. About becoming suspicious, calculating, cold. Was I protecting myself? Or becoming someone I didn't recognize to survive? Trust isn't a structure you build once. It's living, requiring maintenance, inspection, willingness to notice hairline cracks. I ignored cracks because I feared what I'd find. When that 2:47 a.m. notification lit up my phone, it didn't just destroy my marriage. It offered choice: rebuild something stronger, something honest. The house is quieter now. The garage is just a garage. The laundry room has one door, leading where it should. But sometimes, late at night, I walk that space. I run my hand along new drywall where the secret door was. I remember what hid there, what it taught me about deception's architecture. And I wonder, how many walls hide doors I haven't found? How many solid-seeming structures are hollow? If you discovered a hidden door in your home, a space you didn't build, a life you didn't authorize, would you walk through for truth? Or brick it up and pretend you never saw the crack? The silence here is different now. Not heavy with secrets. Light with possibility. With knowledge that I survived the collapse, designed my reconstruction, am no longer an architect of denial. I'm building something new. Foundation visible. Walls transparent. When cracks appear, I'll address them immediately, eyes open, truth as my structural steel. Because the only thing more dangerous than a secret apartment is the willful blindness allowing it to exist. What would you have done? Confronted her at Powell's? Called a lawyer finding the secret phone? Or tried saving the marriage, knowing what you knew? The comments are yours.